Most people think buying gold jewelry is an investment, but what if it's actually a loss? Let's uncover the truth about gold investing. Welcome to today's explainer, where we're going to break down physical versus digital gold and help you figure out which one is absolutely better for your portfolio. We've basically been conditioned for generations to view every single gold purchase as this brilliant financial move. But when you actually look at the data and the financial mechanics behind it, they tell a completely different story. So are you actually investing, or are you just consuming? Well, by the end of this explainer, you're going to have a definitive answer. Section 1. The allure of gold and why we love it. To figure out where we might be going wrong, we first have to understand why we love this metal so much in the first place, right? There's a deep, centuries-old cultural importance tied to gold. In places like India, it's literally woven into the fabric of society as a symbol of prosperity. But financially speaking, why has this trust lasted forever? Well, first off, it is a phenomenal store of value. Unlike paper money that governments can just print infinitely, gold has intrinsic, enduring value. Secondly, it's a fantastic hedge against inflation. As the cost of living shoots up, gold historically holds its ground. And third, it is the ultimate safe asset during crazy times of uncertainty. Whenever the stock market gets volatile and scary, people immediately run straight back to the safety of gold. Moving on to Section 2, Physical Gold Explained the Traditional Way. So how do we usually get our hands on it? The traditional way involves the gold you can actually physically hold. We're talking the classic trio here: jewelry, coins, and solid gold bars. And look, there are absolutely huge advantages to this method. Number one, it's a tangible asset. There is a very real psychological comfort in being able to hold your wealth in your hands. Number two, it carries massive emotional and cultural value. Let's be real, a gold ETF isn't exactly going to serve as a meaningful family heirloom to pass down to your kids. And finally, it's just incredibly easy to understand. You hand over cash and you get a shiny piece of gold. Simple. But here is where we need to introduce a bit of a reality check. When you buy physical gold, especially jewelry, you get hit with what are called making charges. You're paying a premium for the craftsmanship, which actually adds zero value to the underlying gold itself. Then, you've got the ever-present risk of theft, right? Which means you usually end up paying for secure storage, like a bank locker. So now you've just added a recurring storage cost to your so-called investment. And the kicker? When you finally go to sell it, you almost always face a lower resale value because those making charges are instantly wiped out. So suddenly that beautiful physical asset is actually leaking value all over the place. Which brings us to Section 3. Enter digital gold, the modern way. Now this is where we see a massive shift in how smart money interacts with this ancient asset. Digital gold is this brilliant financial innovation that lets you invest online, tracking the real-time price of the metal without dealing with any of the physical risks. Let's break down exactly what this looks like today. First, you have gold ETFs, or exchange-traded funds. These are traded right on the stock market and perfectly track gold prices. Second, sovereign gold bonds, or SGBs, which are issued directly by the government. And third, digital gold platforms. These are those sleek apps on your phone that let you make micro-investments in gold with just a few taps. So 3 entirely frictionless ways to own gold. Actually, what's really fascinating here is the sovereign gold bond, because it is just so unique. An SGB is a government-issued bond, but here is the absolute magic trick. It provides regular interest payments on top of the natural price appreciation of gold. Think about that for a second. Physical gold just sits in a dark vault doing absolutely nothing. An SGB actually pays you an interest rate just for holding it, while the core value still grows as the price of gold goes up. It's literally a dual benefit powerhouse. Digital gold just brilliantly solves all the headaches associated with the physical metal. There are zero storage issues, you don't need a safe, you don't need a bank locker, there are absolutely no making charges. Every single dollar you invest goes exactly to the gold asset itself. Plus, it is insanely easy to buy and sell instantly on your phone, and it offers incredibly high liquidity, meaning you can convert it to cash in your bank account in seconds, rather than having to drive down to a jeweler, get an appraisal, and haggle over a resale price. But, to be totally fair and balanced here, we do have to acknowledge the minor downsides of digital gold. It obviously requires online access and a basic understanding of digital platforms. You can't just walk into a shop with a stack of cash. And like any traded asset, it is subject to real-time market fluctuations. You're going to watch the price tick up and down on a screen, which honestly can sometimes test your nerves a lot more than a gold bar hidden in a closet that you never even look at. All right, Section 4, the physical versus digital showdown, head-to-head. So we have the traditional way and we have the modern way. When we compare the core features side by side, a really clear picture emerges. For storage, physical requires it. Digital totally doesn't. When it comes to safety, physical carries a constant risk of theft, whereas digital is entirely safe on secure servers or even backed by the government. Now for charges, physical gets hit with hefty making charges. Digital is extremely low cost. In terms of liquidity, physical is moderate because it takes time to sell. Digital is incredibly high, giving you instant cash. And ease of use? Physical is moderate since you have to transport and appraise it. Digital is just seamlessly easy. Across the board, digital gold absolutely dominates in safety, cost efficiency, and liquidity. So, what is the ultimate takeaway from that showdown? Honestly, it really comes down to your intent. You should choose physical gold for jewelry and for cultural purposes. If it's for a wedding, a gift, or a long-standing cultural tradition, absolutely buy physical gold. But choose digital gold for investment, for building long-term wealth, and for convenience. We absolutely have to separate those two intentions. Which brings us to Section 5, the jewelry investment myth and the biggest mistake people make. That separation brings us to the most critical part of this entire explainer. Millions of well-intentioned people blend their culture with their finance, and it actively hurts their wealth. The crucial point you have to remember is this. Jewelry is not an investment. It's an expense. It is consumption. Let me say that again. When you buy a gold necklace, you're buying a consumer good. You're paying for design, retail markup, and craftsmanship. The second you walk out of that store, the financial value drops, just like driving a brand new car off the lot. It is a beautiful expense, sure, but it is still an expense. Realizing this completely shifts your financial paradigm. You've got to avoid heavy jewelry if your actual goal is wealth creation. Section 6. Smart Portfolio Gold Strategy for Building Wealth. Okay, now that we've totally busted that myth, how should you actually use gold to build your wealth? Well, the foundation of a professional strategy comes down to a golden rule, a single magic number you need to remember, 5 to 10%. That is the ideal allocation of gold in your overall investment portfolio. Not 0, but definitely not 50% either. Why is that? Let's visualize it. Visually, it looks exactly like this. Your gold slice, which remember, ideally should be digital gold for all the reasons we just discussed, should be a maximum of 10%. The other 90% needs to be in other investments. Gold should absolutely not be your main investment. It's just a sliver. It is the stabilizing foundation, not the entire house. And the reason for that strict 10% cap is spelled out clearly right here. Gold protects wealth. It does not grow wealth rapidly. We buy it for its stable, centuries-old reliability. When inflation surges, gold protects your buying power. When the markets crash, gold holds its ground. Smart investors use it specifically for stability, not for sky-high rapid returns. Think of it as your portfolio's shock absorber. Gold protects your money, but it won't make you rich overnight, which leaves us with a fascinating, provocative question. If gold is just the shock absorber that protects our wealth, what are the engines that actually grow it? And how does gold truly stack up against the heavyweights? In our next explainer, we're diving into gold versus real estate versus stocks. Which one is actually the best investment for your specific goals? Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it, and I'll see you in the next explainer.